Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Tigers Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Schulte. Let's get to it. This episode recorded on Monday, June 17th. Yeah, that sounded really good. This episode, I could edit that out, but I'm lazy. This episode recorded on Monday, June 17th, 2024. And, oh, what fun it is to be a Tigers fan. Oh, my days. I told everybody last week, I said, do not sleep on the Nationals. Did I not say that? Do people go back and listen to S4E8? The title is Do Not Sleep on the Nationals. I specifically said Washington took 2 out of 3 from Detroit last year in Washington. Hello? Good team. Okay. All right. What do? They come into Detroit and they smack us around for 2 out of 3 games. CJ Abrams looks like Derek freaking Jeter from the left-hand side. I just don't. And then we go to Houston and get thumped. Oh my days! What a week that was. The funny thing is there's positives to this. I don't know what positives there can be drawn from being 4 games under 500, but there are positives to what happened last week. You can take some pretty good performances out of last week. Detroit fought yesterday to keep from getting no hit, and they didn't get no hit. They actually didn't get shut out either. They had the tying run on against Josh Hader. So they didn't just roll over and play dead. Riley Green had 4 hits on Saturday and 6 runs batted in, including 2 homers off of Justin Verlander. This team is so like streaky isn't even the word to describe this Detroit Tigers team right now. Because you have to do something to be on a streak. You have to continue something to be on a streak. So it's not a streaky team. It's a Mercurial team. This is a Mercurial Detroit Tigers baseball team right now. And it's very much so you how do I explain it? It's just a matter of yeah, they put up they outscored Washington 15-14 in 3 games. But they lost 2 out of 3, and because they only outscored them 15-14, that basically 15-10. Sorry, 15-13. 14. My math is right. 15-14. They outscored them 15-14, but the problem is that they gave up 14. This is a Washington Nationals team that with the pitching that Detroit has, they shouldn't have been bothered by this team. Reese Olson got smacked around again. He gave him 5 innings, but boy was it a slog. Uh, Casey Mize, he's the only one that pitched really well. I it's just one of those. It's just one of those things where you look back at it and you just kind of you can't help but get frustrated. You just can't. Um, you know, I Maeda goes on Tuesday and has he only goes 4. He has command issues as he's had all year. Reese Olson got smacked around on Wednesday. Casey Mize looked pretty good on Thursday, but it just this team is so flighty. It's just a flighty baseball team. It's a flighty Mercurial baseball team, and you can't win that way. You just can't. You cannot. You cannot win by being a Mercurial baseball team, and that's what Detroit's doing right now. So as a fan, it's frustrating, but you do what you do. Like you have to. There's no other way around it. So I guess we can quote Dennis Green and say they are who we thought they were, but we weren't really sure what we were going to get. So hey, there's a place for that. Sorry, I'm looking around. There's going to be some studio upgrades here. No, I'm being flighty. But anyway, uh, so yeah, it's just one of those things that as a fan you get frustrated, and when you get frustrated as a fan, it really shows in in your podcasts. Uh, Outside of that, the big deal was Riley Green. Big deal for the weekend was Riley Green getting 4 hits and taking JV deep twice. That had to feel good for Riley, if nothing else. Um, the injury report has Javi Baez on it. He has lumbar inflammation, lumbar spine inflammation. He says he's been dealing with this since he got to Detroit. Now, this doesn't explain everything. And I don't honestly buy it as an excuse for why he has underperformed so badly over the last 2+ seasons. Because if your back is hurting you that badly and you know you're not performing very well, why didn't you go and get it taken care of 2 years ago? Why didn't you get this taken care of in June of 2022 when you were slumping, when you were struggling? Your bad back is not the cause for you swinging at pitches that are 87 miles out of the strike zone. Like, I'm sorry, but if it's a slider and a pitcher throws it to first base, Javi Baez is going to swing at it. He just is. He has no plate discipline. That has nothing to do with your bad back, son. That has everything to do with you just falling off the face of the earth. So that's the Javi Baez story. Ryan Kreidler got called up, and he's filled in all right. Him and Zach McKinstry are splitting time. They're doing a platoon at shortstop. Basically, if there's a right-hander on the mound, McKinstry's going to get the playing time, and if there's a lefty on the mound, Kreidler's going to get the playing time. And a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, well, that means that McKinstry's going to get the lion's share of the at-bats. Not necessarily, because, okay, sure, you can have a completely right-handed pitching or a starting rotation, but you've got left-handers in your bullpen, and AJ Hinch is not afraid to let a guy switch to his left-hander and then bring in a right-hander to face him. So whereas he probably will get the bulk of the playing time from the simple fact that there are more right-handed pitchers out there than there are lefties. Um, Ryan Kreidler is going to play 4 out of 5 days. He may not necessarily start 4 out of 5, but he's going to play 4 out of 5 because of the way that AJ Hinch manages. So I don't mind that. I actually like that because it gives Ryan Kreidler a bit less pressure. He doesn't have as much to focus on. He can just deal with the fact that he's hitting against left-handers. Granted, most of them are very tough left-handers. They're not necessarily Tarek Skubal, but they're no slouches because obviously they made the big leagues. But yeah, so he's facing left-handed pitching, so he's facing the offside. He's not having to deal with a tough right-hander like Garrett Cole or you know um, Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez. In our in our division, Tristan McKenzie. Um, Pitchers like that, but in our division, he does have to face Cole Reagans, which I mean, that's not good either. But it's being a right-hander and facing Cole Reagans is a lot. Well, I won't say a lot, but probably slightly more preferable to being a right-hander and facing Garrett Cole or Brady Singer or Joe Ryan, Tristan McKenzie, um, pitchers of that ilk, Emmanuel Clase. So, you know, there is that. Uh, so Detroit's got Atlanta this week. Then they come home to the White Sox. Um, I'm not. I'm not thrilled with the possibilities here of a winning road trip. Let's be realistic. They dropped 2 out of 3 in Houston. They'll be lucky to win to take 1 out of 3 in Atlanta. Atlanta's just that good. But they come home against the White Sox, so they can get healthy against the White Sox on over the weekend, and hopefully that's a little bit of tonic to soothe some of the wounds that they have from this brutal stretch that they've been in, where they've just played absolutely deplorable baseball. So, um, outside of that, not a lot going on. I've been paying more attention to the College World Series than I have been to the Tigers, which is sad, but I love me some college baseball, and it's an interesting World Series this year. It's basically the ACC versus SEC challenge, because you've got Florida, Kentucky, Texas A&M, and um, um, Tennessee representing the SEC, and then your other 4 teams were Virginia, North Carolina State, and Florida State. Now, I say were because Virginia went home yesterday. They lost in walk-off fashion to North Carolina on Friday, and then yesterday they lost quite epically to Florida State. You have North Carolina and Florida in the losers bracket today. That's going to be, or sorry, North Carolina State and Florida in the losers bracket today. That's an ACC SEC matchup, and then an all SEC matchup between Texas A&M and Kentucky tonight. And one of those teams in that first game will go home. The other one moves on to play, I believe, tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow. If not Wednesday. No, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow because uh, it's tomorrow. Trust me. Um, I want to thank YouTube for being there, and those of you who are subscribed to my YouTube channel and checking me out on YouTube, thank you very much. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. I have to sort out Spotify for podcasters or Spotify for podcasts so that I can get this back up on the air for those who are getting podcasts sent to them directly. But if somebody asks, youtube.com/@TB podcast. You can get in touch with the show via Mastodon @TB podcast @tweesecake.social. That's TWEESE cake.social. TB @Podcast Tigers on Twitter, and Tigers Baseball Podcast @gmail.com is the email address. It's the world's longest email address. I'm proud of that. Until next week, I will let you guys go, and I hope everybody has a good week. Next week, we might be talking about Spencer Torkelson. Oh boy. Thanks for listening, folks. Go Tigers.